Let's give this another try, shall we? All right, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay now. Oh boy, it is a technology day today. So basically what happened during the radio show, my computer literally just all the USB ports just stopped working all of a sudden, which knocked my camera out, knocked all the audio out. I was like, then all the programs crashed, and I'm like, what the heck? So I had to restart my whole computer to get everything up and running. Turns out there was an update, so then it had to install the update. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I am doing the show just chit-chatting along like normal here, trying to figure out what's going on while I'm trying to talk at the same time. It was fun times. But I've noticed lately that the Facebook video is looking like garbage. It looks grainy on my phone. I'm like, what's going on? I have a $150 camera. I've got a great computer. It should not be grainy or nasty. If I upload a video to Facebook, like one that I record, save, and then upload, it looks great. So what's the difference? Part of it might be the internet connection here at the KFAB studio. Unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do to control that, so I just have to live with that. The other thought is if I send a few less, I'm sending 30 frames a second right now for full video. If I send 25 frames per second, you're not going to really notice that. So when I open up OBS Studio is a software program for studio broadcasters. So I was trying to use that this morning so I could look at how many frames I was dropping. I was losing about 25% of our frames. I'm losing 25% of them right now. That's why you're going to see me like chopping sometimes, or the video freezes but the audio continues. It's probably bandwidth related, I'm guessing, but what can I do about it, right? Well, if I don't have a lot of bandwidth, I can send lower resolution video. I can send fewer frames, right? So if I cut it from 30 frames to 25, you're probably not going to notice. The human eye might not notice that. But it took me from 25% drop frames to 16% drop frames. So that's better, right? So then I was rolling with that, and then everything just blew up. So then getting all that set up again while I was talking was not going to be possible, so I just launched Chrome, went to Facebook Live, and clicked go, and here we are. Then I made a mistake when I was resetting everything. I was talking with Emily about stuff that was going on while I was doing the settings, and I screwed up and got the wrong microphone. So I apologize, guys. I'm still a little tired from yanking cabinets out, to be brutally honest with you, but we're gonna get through it. We'll get through it together. Thank you for your patience with me. I appreciate it. All right, good to see you, Mitch, Diane. Hey, Mark, top fan Mark, how's it going? A-okay. Thank you, Don. Welcome back yourself. Thanks for the sound check, Nan. I appreciate it. Looking good. Woohoo! We're back. That's right. Happy in Schrockville. Get your coffee. I was so tired this morning that I drove past the gas station where I go to get my coffee. Drove right past it. Like, oh. Well, and I didn't realize I was past it until I was about a half a mile past it. I'm like, well, I don't want to turn around now. So I stopped at Dunkin' and got some coffee there. Not exactly as strong as I'm used to, but, it got the motor running well enough to do a radio show, I guess. All righty. All good. I love it. New business in your old Lincoln location. Oh, really? Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Oh, you got a restaurant in there. Awesome, guys. That space is perfect for a restaurant where we were at in their Lincoln location at 27th and Pine Lake. That's cool. I'm going to take a look at that and maybe should give them a shout because that space has some history to it. It's got some good vibes. Let's put it that way. Okay. So what we're going to do this morning, guys, is I am going to endeavor to keep things as apolitical as possible, right? Obviously, we're talking about an election situation, so you've got to bring politics into it. But I'm going to do my best to keep my personal opinions and any kind of leading political commentary out of the conversation so that you can understand what's happening with the Hunter Biden laptop situation. So here's what's going on. Someone believed to be Hunter Biden by the shop owner. So this would be, for example, a computer repair shop. And a guy walks into my shop, and I think it's Hunter Biden. To the best of my knowledge, it's Hunter Biden, right? I mean, that's what I'm going to say. To the best of my knowledge, it's Hunter Biden. Drops off his Mac laptop for us to fix. There's something wrong with it. We check it in, and we fix it. And then we call Hunter Biden back. And we tell him, hey, your laptop's all ready to go. You already paid for it. It's all paid and good to go. We just have to come pick her up. And we wait. And we call next week. Hey, it's still here. And we wait. We call a week after that. Hey, it's still here. With Chris Baker and his weekly show on KFAB, I went through the process that Schrock goes through with this, because the guy where Hunter Biden dropped his laptop off was a Mac repair store owner. He is legally blind. He wears a monocle to fix computers, and he has to fix them at a distance of 8 inches, which for everybody else out there is this far. He has to be this close to what he's doing in order to see well enough to fix what he's doing. That's the guy we're talking about. So that's why he couldn't say definitively, well, I think it was Hunter Biden. Dude's legally blind. He can't see anything further than 8 inches from his face. So Hunter Biden signed the form, but it was Hunter Biden. So he checks in the Mac, and he does the work and he fixes it, but Hunter Biden never shows to pick the computer back up again. First thing that we heard online was, who takes a computer and pays for it to be fixed and then never picks it up? What a line of hooey. And I told Chris Baker, I'm like, it happens all the time. We literally, we have a thing that says after 30 days, your computer will be recycled. We will programmatically wipe the hard drive. We will recycle your hardware. So don't leave it more than 30 days, right? But we understand life happens. So at 60 days, we call you again. And then at 90 days, we say, listen, we're going to recycle this tomorrow, which is what we've said every other time we've called you. But we're going to recycle it tomorrow if you don't come in and pick it up right now. Because our customers don't prepay for work like they do at the Mac store, apparently in Delaware. You pay us when you pick it up. So we want you to come pick it up. That's how we stay in business. If you don't want to come pick it up, we're going to recycle it at 90 days. And of course, the day after you recycle it, the guy walks in the door every time, never fails. After you, we just wiped your hard drive. Sorry, sir. Why did you wipe it? My phone number changed. I didn't know. Or that my email is broken. It's been broken for a week. I had no idea. Well, it's been 90 days. Sorry. So anyway, laptop gets left with the Mac repair store guy for 90 days or for 30 days, at which point the form that was signed indicates it becomes the property of the computer repair shop owner. Okay? So it's his laptop now, his emails now, his Hunter Biden's laptop, if that's whose it was, is now the property of the computer repair store owner. Just like any other piece of property, the guy can do anything he wants with it. Okay? He happens to be a Trump supporter. Imagine the quandary this guy's in. I mean, let's be straight. Really, for the most part, really creative people work on Macs, okay? Liberal people who are likely to support Democrats, are also likely to own a Mac. That doesn't mean all of them do. There are conservative people who have Macs, and there's liberal people who use PCs. I'm just saying, as a rule of thumb, that's what you're going to see. This guy has a Mac repair store. He fixes Macs. He is a Trump supporter. He has Hunter Biden's laptop in his hand, and he gets curious, so he looks through it. Because it's his property now. He can do that. He looks through everything, and he realizes there's some really damaging emails on here. And not just damaging, like embarrassing stuff, like Hunter Biden's falling asleep with a crack pipe hanging out of his mouth. And here's the thing, guys. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I am the last person who is going to sit here and point at somebody who's got a drug or an addiction problem and say, that guy's weak, or that guy's, that guy's bad. Life throws challenges at people, right? And you get to write your story. You get to decide how you're going to define your life. You can make mistakes along the way, but you got to get it right in the end, right? That's what you got to do. So there's Hunter Biden. Yes, there's embarrassing pictures in there. There's some other stuff on there. We'll get into that later because it's a little more salacious and it's a little less verified. But the big important stuff on there are the emails and the communications between Hunter Biden and the people who pay Hunter Biden, his bosses, his employers. Those are the things that were the most concerning. So they indicated that there was a probability of something very, very bad going on. So the computer store owner turns the laptop over to the FBI. Unless you have been living under a rock for the last 3 years, there's been a little bit of friction between the Trump administration and intelligence and investigatory branches of the government. It seems that they don't like him very much internally. The internal people working there don't like him in some cases, especially the people who run the divisions, and he's not getting a fair shake in some things. Now we can sit here all day long and debate whether that's true or not. Let's just say, for the sake of discussion, that it is possible that there is a bias within the echelons of government of people who do not appreciate Trump. don't like how he does things, don't like his tone, don't like whatever. Okay, let's just acknowledge that possibility exists. And then let's look at this from the mind of a Trump supporter in Delaware who runs a Mac store, who's legally blind and fixes computers with a monocle. He's saying, I've got this. I've got everything that says right here, assuming that this is all on the level, that proves that Trump was right the whole time. It's all right here in my hands. He takes a copy of the hard drive before he hands the computer over to the FBI, just in case that hard drive never makes it anywhere else ever again. And it turns out it didn't get anywhere else. FBI has had it for a couple months now, or a year or something. I mean, they've had it for a period of time. Didn't do jack with it. Nothing. So he says, well, I still got this stuff, right? So he calls up other politicians. Hey, I've got, Senator this or Senator that or whatever. I've got Hunter Biden's laptop, man. I've got it right here. Do you want it? Yes, you're the fourth person this week to call us with Hunter Biden's laptop, so sorry, sir. I appreciate your support in November. Have a great day. No one gives the guy the time of day. He's just a blind, little old computer repair shop guy running a single-man Mac repair store in Delaware. Sure, he's a Trump supporter. Sure, they're real emails. We're not going to get suckered into anything. Because the Trump administration, the whole campaign is on guard, right? All they have to do is make one mistake and say one stupid thing about one thing that's not true or that's a misinformation plant, and now all of a sudden it's like a giant government conspiracy, right? The Russians are coming, that kind of thing. So they got to be really careful. So they're not going to just jump at some random guy calling them that says he has Hunter Biden's laptop, especially when you don't have it. I turned it over to the FBI, but now I've got the hard drive here. Guys, I get calls from these people. There are listening devices in the breaker box. Whenever we flip the breaker, where there's like a little arc that happens, like you can see a little flash, and that's the listening device turning on. I mean, these people exist, guys. And you struggle with that as a professional because they want to pay you thousands of dollars to come into their house and remove the listening devices that aren't there. They're in the sofa. That's a real thing. A lady tells me she's got listening devices in her sofa. She threw away all of her furniture, went out and bought new furniture because there were bugs. Not insects, but listening devices in the sofa. These nutso people are out there. And you're a campaign, you got a presidential campaign, some guy calls you, too good to be true situation, sure. Random computer dude has Hunter Biden's laptop, go away. We don't have time for you. Well, now the guy's like, dude, what the heck do I do? So he calls Rudy Giuliani's attorney. He doesn't call Rudy Giuliani, he calls Rudy Giuliani's attorney and says, I have Hunter Biden's laptop, do you want it? It's my property. Attorney says, I'll take that call. Looks into it. Yeah, sure enough, it's your property. Here's the form that was signed by Hunter Biden saying you have it after 30 days. We're examining the hard drive here, and emails have headers. Once you have the actual laptop or a copy of the hard drive, it is super easy to prove that this is a legit laptop that Hunter Biden used. Okay. The third thing is, then he hands it to Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani is like, hot diggity dog, let's go. And all of a sudden, then the Washington Post drops the story. So the Washington Post drops this story. Washington Post is a conservative-leaning New York newspaper who prints their newspaper in a tabloid-size format. So think like the National Enquirer, how that looks on the shelf. That's how the Post publishes their newspaper. Not like the World Herald with the top fold and everything else. So some people say it's a tabloid. It's the fourth largest circulating newspaper in the United States. Okay, it's a Rupert Murdoch property, so yes, it's the evil Fox News guy who's running it. Now, if you've watched Fox News lately, they haven't exactly been the bastion of irrational Trumpism. So, not like other channels have been for Biden. It's not the same. But again, we're not going to let politics into this. We're just going to let's look at it on the facts. So, the New York Post publishes a story saying that the emails on this laptop, it goes like this: 1. Hunter Biden has a job working for an oil company in the Ukraine, and he's being paid $50,000 a month to do a job for them that is apparently something he's not qualified to do. So I explained it to my 14-year-old son this way. Let's say you're 18 years old and you get a call from a Ukrainian oil company saying, we want you to sit on our board for $50,000 a month. What could you find the Ukraine on a map, son? No. Do you know anything about the oil industry? No. Why do they want you to sit on their board? I don't know. But they're going to give you $50,000 a month, so yeah. Like, okay, so son, this is one of those things, this is the too good to be true moment, right? That doesn't happen in life. Businesses don't just pay people $50,000 a year to sit on a board for no reason. So, okay, but now, son, let's say your dad's the vice president. So there's the first situation. The second situation is that company sending Hunter Biden an email saying, we would like to have the opportunity to meet or tour the White House or meet with the vice president and talk about the situation, because the vice president Biden was one of the delegated tasks from President Obama was dealing with Ukrainian situations. So the Ukrainians come to Washington. It's on the official White House visitor log. The email says, yes, we've set up a meeting, here's the date. Then on that date, the Ukrainians show up in Washington and come to the White House, right? Now, Joe Biden keeps an official log, the White House keeps a log of everyone who meets with the president and the vice president. The Ukrainians are nowhere on the official log. There's a couple 2-hour gaps in his day where he has unaccounted for time. So you can make the argument there's no proof that Biden actually met with the Ukrainians or did anything for the Ukrainians. Okay, that's a legit point. So then we turn around and we look at the thank you note that the Ukrainians sent after the alleged meeting happened. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us. We loved meeting the vice president. I mean, they sent a thank you note. Okay, so that looks pretty bad. Again, it's not definitive, but it looks really bad, right? Follow-up emails. Apparently, this company in the Ukraine was being investigated by a prosecutor for doing some bad stuff. I won't get into all the bad stuff. They were under investigation by their own government for something they did that was wrong. They wanted the investigation to go away. The United States provides the Ukraine with $1 billion annually in financial assistance. Vice President Biden was one of the guys that's instrumental in delivering that aid. We need this investigation to go away. So then we cut to forget the laptop for a second, we cut to a video of Biden who is speaking to an audience where he's talking about the benefits of soft power and how you don't have to lead with a sledgehammer. You can go in there and you can be a little more diplomatic about it. So his example was, you go to the Ukraine and you say, this prosecutor is investigating this company, and I asked you, we said we wanted that to stop, and it's still going on. So unfortunately, you're not going to get your $1 billion. I'm going to be in town for another 6 hours, and if you fire that guy and he's gone in the next 6 hours, I'll get you the $1 billion. You can't do that. The president wouldn't do that. Biden says, call him. You call him. You think I'm just making this up? You call him. We're on the same page. Magically, and this is Biden talking, he's like, hot damn, sure enough, they fire that guy in 6 hours. You see, that's how soft power works. Then we go back and look. Now that was something that Biden is on video saying to an audience. Now we roll the tape back and we realize at the time Biden said he did that in the video, that fits with the email chain. Literally, Hunter Biden was being paid $50,000 a month to purchase access to his father, is what these emails allege, so that the vice president could make a problem go away for a foreign company with a foreign government. All right? So that's pretty damning stuff, right? So that means Hunter Biden is a bad guy. Does that mean that Joe Biden is a bad guy? There's a difference, right? I mean, we're being honest, we're being on the level. There is a difference. So then we look through further into these emails. There are also text messages. If you know anything about Mac, it kind of unifies everything. So your text messages, your emails are all in one place. They're all on this hard drive. We look at the text messages. The text messages say to his sister, don't worry, I'm not going to make you give me or half of your salary like Pop makes me give 50% of my salary to him. Again, it's not evidence, right? It's hearsay. But if there's actually a financial transaction between Hunter Biden and his father that is roughly $25,000 a month, it's going to look really bad. And I'm sure they're smart enough to not do it that way, right? But if that's what's going on, that's the whole situation, right? So that's bad enough. It looks like Joe Biden is personally profiting from his political position in office. His son is most certainly personally profiting from his father's position in office. That doesn't mean father committed a crime unless daddy's doing it too, right? Or delivering influence to his son in return for money or favors. So that's bad, right? The New York Post runs this story. Facebook and Twitter block it. They literally block the story. Facebook says it's going to have limited distribution, which it basically means you can post it, but no one's going to see it. Okay. Twitter, if you post the link to that story, they locked your account because they said it was hacked material. It wasn't hacked. It was the guy's personal property, number one. Number two, they said, well, it's unverified materials. That was later on what they changed it to. Well, the Trump tax return story was also unverified, hacked material. Somebody stole the guy's tax returns. They weren't ordered released by a judge. Somebody stole those from somewhere. And then you published them, the New York Times published them, and you let that story run. So you're at least, at the minimum, not consistently enforcing everything. So the GOP comes out, the Senate GOP comes out and says, we're going to post a link to the New York Post story on the Senate website, and then we're going to link the Senate website to Twitter. They got banned. What? So then today you got crazy people that are like, they're tweeting out the Hunter Biden story from the New York Post, like 160 characters at a time, like the whole story in a series of tweets. So we didn't link to the story, right? So Twitter is starting to back off now because they're going to get subpoenaed. Jack Dorsey is going to have to explain why this happened before an election. The GOP has filed a Federal Election Commission complaint saying that this was an in-kind contribution from Twitter to the Biden campaign and needs to be accounted for in the electioneering documentation, basically. So it's getting real sticky, real sticky. So anyway, all that happens, right? That's what everybody focused on. And people starting to get tired of hearing about it. The people who had heard about it, other people haven't even heard the story exist yet. I talked to 2 people this week who had no idea this was even going on. One of them worked for Facebook. You know, so then, but wait, there's more. Apparently, there's an actual organization called China Inc. that was paying Hunter Biden, according to emails from the laptop, like $10 million a month for access to his dad. I'm a pretty creative guy. I'm trying to think of how in the world I could possibly spend $10 million a month. What would I buy? What wouldn't I buy? Oh, wait, I only have $5 million a month, right? Because, you know, got to give half to Pop. So what could it... Still, though, $5 million a month. Wow. What wouldn't I be able to do? But basically, there's all these emails going back on that. And so basically what you're going to see happening, my opinion on this is what you're going to see happening here is a drip, drip, drip. And it's going to come to a crescendo probably on Tuesday in the news cycle because there's a debate on Wednesday. And we know... So the 2 candidates sat down. So I have to be careful here. The 2 candidates sat down for a debate. Biden sat down with Stephanopoulos, and he did well in the debate. And some are saying he did so well because Stephanopoulos really didn't ask him any questions or didn't force him to answer anything. And he certainly didn't ask him about the Hunter Biden emails, for sure. On the other hand, the Trump town hall was supposed to be a town hall where people ask questions from the president. The moderator asked 42 questions. The audience asked 10. So it was... some people are saying, well, it was a hit job, right? President was not as combative in that one, which was probably smart because a lot of liberals were watching that. And he's trying to win votes, right? He's trying to convince people to vote for him. And being combative and attacking the people that you're trying to get to vote for you doesn't usually help. So he was being smart about it. It was an unfortunate thing to watch, but he was being smart about it. So anyway, the bottom line here, guys, is there's more to come from this. I believe these emails are legitimate. I believe that they did come from a laptop that the shop owner believes is Hunter Biden's laptop. So notice I threaded a needle there. What if somebody, like a foreign intelligence firm, for example, dropped off this fake Hunter Biden laptop with this shop owner as a plant? right? So what if it's a plant? What if they found the only Trump-loving conservative Mac store owner in Delaware, dropped off a laptop that said it was Hunter Biden's laptop on the hope that the dude with the monocle that can only see 8 inches in front of his face would thoroughly examine the contents of Hunter Biden's hard drive, figure out everything that was going on, and then get them out into the public. Because he is a great vessel to do that. Guys, if this happens in my service center, number one, we don't have time to be looking through people's hard drives. Number two, when we recycle computers, we literally wipe the drive. We don't have time. We don't want to see it. Trust me, you don't want to see it. Doing data recovery, I've seen some awful things. You don't want to see this stuff. There was a police officer's training hard drive that was for training police officers in crime scene investigation. I mean, there were bodies hanging from rafters. There were people that got put through meat grinders. Literally, the pictures of this stuff. And I had to verify all this, the data was good. So I had to look through that data. But that was because I was being paid to look through the data. And I remember those pictures to this day. It was awful. Trust me, we don't want to look through the data, guys. So when you see this stuff, now there's the other possibility. The hard drive, the laptop, the actual physical laptop, is currently in possession of the FBI, reportedly in the possession of the FBI's lead child sex trafficking investigator. There was a story a little while back about Hunter Biden receiving $3 million or something from the wife of the mayor of Moscow, and that was kind of odd, right? And there was a mention in that story that it could have possibly been tied to Russian criminal enterprises. The thing that everyone alluded to in that story, but nobody said, it was child sex trafficking. And there is the possibility, this would be the surprise. This was probably what, if there is something like this that's going to hit before Wednesday, is if there is something on that laptop, which apparently there are some pictures and videos of a lewd nature on the laptop. If there is evidence of something like that going on, this is just the hors d'oeuvre to let everybody know that this is actually a real thing and it's happening, and then they're gonna release that probably before the debate. I haven't seen the images because I chose not to look for them, but from the descriptions that I have read from people like Catherine Herridge, who's reporting I trust, it's bad. It's underage stuff and it's bad. Does that mean Joe Biden is a bad guy because his son is a bad guy? No, it doesn't. Does it look like, if this information is accurate, if these emails are accurate, does it look like Joe Biden is personally benefiting from his time in office, financially, intentionally, selling influence and favors? Yes. It looks just like that's what's happening. Does every other politician do the same thing? Lord, I hope not. But I wouldn't put it past them, you know? So the thing that strikes me about this is every single thing that they've accused President Trump of doing in his tenure, these emails involve those very things, except it's not Trump doing them in the emails. Have you ever known somebody who is like, who I heard a quote yesterday, it's like, you should be afraid of lawyers because they're the people who know how to break the law the best. Have you ever, the situation where you've got somebody who has broken the law or knows how to break the law or has gotten away with it before, they have a special insight. When they look at somebody else, they can see the opportunity that person has to do the same thing, to break the law, and they assume because they did it that that person's going to do it too. And so they project. They say, well, that guy's breaking the law over there. I know he's breaking the law because if you gave me a set of opportunities like that, hot diggity, I'd be breaking the law too. But I know he's breaking the law, except he's not breaking the law. The target's not breaking the law. But they project all this stuff there because they have experienced it in some way, shape, or form themselves. As a result, you end up now with this uncovering happening. But if this was a plant, either it is the absolute luckiest intel operation on the planet, number one, to even have worked. They dropped this laptop off at Schrock Innovations. We're never looking at the hard drive, guys. I don't care if it's Hunter Biden's laptop or not. Give you an idea. I've had a computer on my bench before from somebody who I knew when he brought it in, was a political fixer. I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement to work on the computer, and I had to promise that I would be the only technician that worked on the computer. There was, quote-unquote, information on my hard drive that could ruin the careers of senators, governors, congressmen, local, state, federal. It's really important because this guy is a crisis manager. That's what he does. When something goes sideways, he spins it, does what crisis managers do to make the situation as good as it possibly can be. You know how tempted I was to look, just to see the forbidden knowledge? Ooh, it would be great, right? No, it wouldn't. It would be awful. It'd be a curse. Because you would know things that nobody else knows. You would have opinions that you couldn't justify to anybody else. But you would know with certainty your opinion is correct. But you couldn't tell anybody how you knew. It would be awful, right? Now imagine this poor computer guy, whose customer base is mostly liberal, and he has just dumped Hunter Biden's laptop on the conservatives, basically, as a gift. His business is done. He is done. So if you're watching in Delaware right now, find this guy's store and take a computer for him to work on, please. Number one, the dude's disabled, and he's running a business. Do you know what the tenacity this man must have? Number two, he has the moral fortitude to do the right thing, even though this is literally going to kill his business. Where's this guy's GoFundMe? I haven't seen it. You know, they interview the guy. He's obviously not eloquent. He does not like the limelight. I've known a million computer repair guys like him. They had he was a slow-running shop. There's not a lot to do. He's got a lot of time to think, and he's debating with himself every day, do I do the right thing for the public and hand this over, or do I protect my business? And he chose to hand it over and do the right thing. Well, there are consequences for that. Just because it doesn't make him a martyr, there's consequences for that. His business is going to suffer. You can't tick off over half your customer base and expect to survive, especially when you're slow to begin with. And I guarantee you that place is not hopping. So what do you do? Like I said, if you're in the area there and you can take a computer to him to fix it, please do, because his business is going to be in trouble, just from a humanitarian standpoint. Regardless of what side you're on, it's going to be rough. He only works on Macs, though, from what I can see from his website and everything. So anyway, that's what's been going on. That's what I think is going to happen going forward on Wednesday, or before Wednesday. You're going to see that bomb is going to probably be the big one to hit. That's why the Biden campaign isn't saying anything right now. They haven't denied the emails are theirs, or Hunter's, I should say. They haven't denied that the emails are Hunter's. They haven't denied that Biden met with that Ukrainian delegation. They said it was not on his official schedule, which is factually true, but he was there, they were there, 2-hour gaps in the schedule, and a thank you note. I mean, it looks bad. It looks really bad. So it's just a reminder for anyone else out there who's thinking about going into public service or is in public service now, you have to avoid the appearance of impropriety. It's not enough to be a good person and to be an honorable person. You have to be the perfect person. It's hard to do. All right, I'm going to run through comments here real quick, guys, and then we'll get rolling here. All right, welcome back. Thanks, Don. Good snowy morning. I know. I'm looking forward to trying to drive out of here and see how bad it is. Probably just going to be slushy, I'm guessing. All righty. Hey, no problem, Mark. I appreciate you guys being patient with me to get through all the technical issues. It does, yeah. Taking your computer to any computer repair shop is an incredible exercise in trust for people. People use their computers for all kinds of stuff. And trust me, guys, you don't want to see it. I recovered photos off of Grandma's phone. Her grandma, right? I didn't want to see that. You don't want to see this stuff, guys. It's not fun. All right, Hunter's lawyer called the shop to ask for his laptop back. Yeah, I'm sure they did. The laptop is not in the shop owner's possession any longer, though. It's been turned over to the FBI. So they don't have the laptop anymore. So they can call now and ask for it back, or maybe they called before. I haven't seen the news report about when they called back. But yeah, if you have your attorney call to get the laptop back, kind of means you already screwed up, right? So I suppose in a way, if Hunter Biden's attorney called asking for the laptop back, it could almost be a de facto admission that it's Hunter Biden's laptop, maybe. Let's see. The FBI has had the laptop for the last 10 months. They should know by now if the email is real. You're right, they should. They should easily know by now if it was real. It'd take you about 10 minutes to know if it was real. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you, Richard. You know, I thought about saying that also before I said it, because it comes with a stigma, and it took a long time for me to be able to admit that. And yeah, there are radio shows that I did sometimes where I was drinking during the radio show. Yeah, it was, you know, when you realize that you don't have control over your life because something else is controlling you, it's a really powerful realization. And then if you're able to do something about it, it's the most liberating thing you can do in your life. So anybody else who's struggling out there with addiction or things like that, the world gets so much better. It's so much better. It's hard to see it when you're in it, but it's so much better without it. Yeah, do I sit at dinner with my wife while she's enjoying some fizzy gin drink and say, wow, I wish I could enjoy a fizzy gin drink? Not because I want to get drunk, but just I want to try that drink, you know. But it's a small price to pay. It's a small price to pay to have control over your own life. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. All right. New York Post. Oh, I said it wrong. Sorry about that. It was the New York Post. Did I say Times? I don't even know what I said. Did I say the New York Times? I hope not. Okay, I've thought about starting a clothing line of aluminum foil lined fashions for conspiracy theorists. I listened to Rush and definitely heard this. Yep, that's the thing. It's like half the country knows about it and half the country doesn't, guys. Don't assume that all of your friends know, but this is going on. The problem is, I put a hashtag on the description for the show, which makes it really easy for Facebook to limit distribution. So I'm going to be really interested to see how many people actually see this. It's going to be interesting. The After Schrock's never get a boost, right? I never pay to get in front of people. So if this one has a lower distribution, it's going to be really obvious. I'll be able to tell. All right. I don't even want to look through the data of my family members on their failing hard drives. The Beau Biden Foundation label on the laptop would make one curious. You know, and that's the thing. But if you were going to plant a laptop, right, wouldn't you put that sticker on there? I'm just saying. Like, if you were a Russian super spy, wouldn't you do that? Okay, all right, let's see. I can see or why you wanted to save this for your Facebook page. Everything I hear you say is right on the spot. I'm just hoping and praying. Yeah, you know, and it's one of those things where, again, you don't want to tick off half your audience, guys. And I know that we're on talk radio, and a lot of people on talk radio lean conservative, so I'm pretty certain that my message will be relatively safe. But why poke the bear, right? You know, why go out there and do that? It's the same reason we had this idea a while back to do a really funny thing on the show where basically you can go on to Fiverr.com. For $5 you can have someone say 10 words in a Trump voice. And so we thought we could do an interview with Trump, right? We could have Trump on the show. The @NotReal Donald Trump could be on the show. And we could have him here. We could ask him, what's your favorite antivirus? And he'd say, Kaspersky, you know, the Russian one. I love it. Yeah, I don't like any of those others because they're made in China. You know, we would just go to town with it. It'd be fun. I mean, it would be fun, right? But you can't have fun anymore. You can't heckle a politician. You can't heckle or you can't say anything good or bad. If you say something bad about Trump, you lose half your audience. If you say something good about Trump, you lose half your audience. If you say something that could be construed as mildly complimentary of Trump, you lose half your audience. If you do a skit, like a Saturday Night Live kind of funny skit, back when they used to be funny, about caricaturing what Trump says for like, oh, I know all about Schrock. I know all about Shamrock Invocations. They're a great company, you know, in the Trump voice. The best company, nothing better like nobody's ever seen. You know, you could have fun with that, right? But you can't have fun anymore. Oh, yeah, Goya. Yeah, the Goya thing was crazy, what happened with Goya Foods. What is the name of his business? Let me look that up. You know, honestly, I don't know that. I know he's the guy. Let's see here. So, Delaware, Mac, Repair, Biden guy. I don't know what you can search for on Google without them limiting your search, you know?
Meet the Delaware repairman at the ad paywall. Okay. Alrighty. John Paul Mack, the owner of a Delaware computer store. They don't say it. Dropped his laptop off at a Delaware computer store. Repair shop in Delaware. Alright, his name is John Paul. Let's say John Paul, Delaware, Mac Repair. Alrighty. God, they're ripping this guy apart online. Whew. 5 things you need to know about John Paul, Mac Repair guy. Ugh. Let's see. I'm going to open some of these orders. I can't believe it. Oh, the Mac Shop. It's the Mac Shop in Delaware. The Mac Shop, Delaware. Well, you know, the funny thing is Google must have locked down his review account because he has 76 5-star Google reviews. And it's DE Mac Shop. So, I mean, guys, this is who you're looking at here. I'm going to scroll down so I can post a message here. I can show you his website. www.demacshop.com. So when you look at this guy's website, you're going to see that this guy is not like, he's not big time. He's just a little computer repair shop owner. And he's got pictures of Macs on his websites. We'll be using our 15 years plus of Macintosh experience. I mean, if you guys are in Delaware and you got a Mac, support this guy, please. Because, yeah, please. Anyway, they're going to take him apart one way or the other. All right. Let's see. Balmy 73 degrees, Carolyn and Round Rock, Texas. It's sleeting here in Nebraska. All right. Yeah, the FBI had it for a year. Ben Sass is lucky the Hunter Biden story is grabbing the limelight. Yeah, you know, I love me some Ben Sass. I do. And I guess everyone is entitled to their personal opinions, and not everybody likes Trump, and that's politics. Not everybody in politics likes everybody else in politics. But sometimes it's good politics to like someone in politics, if you know what I mean. Sometimes it's bad politics to not like someone. I don't know why he said what he said right before an election. I don't know what the rationale was there. But I think his civics lessons during the confirmation hearing were hilarious. You know, I like that. All right. Biden has said on the news that it's a smear campaign. Well, that's true. He did say it was a smear campaign. Basically, and he followed a similar line during the first debate where he talked about people with addictions and how, you know, then he proceeded to use every incorrect term you would use for someone with an addiction. He fixed it. He overcame it. He got better. You know, if you, anyway. So anyway, yes, he said it's a smear campaign, that basically people are smearing his son to get to him. And, you know, honestly, you could make that argument a couple weeks ago. I don't know that you could make that argument today. The FBI knows it's real. I guess the Democrat FBI agents decided to block the release. Again, I don't know. For all you know, though, all the field agents were like, we got to do the right thing, guys. This has to get out. And they handed it up the food chain like they're supposed to. And all the other things that we have seen, it's been the higher-up decision makers that are the ones that were bending and doing everything. It sounded like the rank-and-file people were just doing their job. You know, my job is to go in the field, do the investigation, write a report, hand it to my boss. And the bosses then get the reports, and then maybe they decide which reports make it to the circular file and which ones go on. I don't know. So anyway, it just blows my mind if they've had it for a year and it's just now. If they've had it for a year and it's just now coming out and Trump didn't even know about it, I mean, that's got to give you some confidence at least that there is some separation between the executive branch and the judicial branch, basically. Even though the executive branch, or the judicial branch, sorry, not the judicial branch, but of course there's separation, duh. But the separation, like Trump's not interfering with FBI, but people. Like they don't come running to him whenever there's an opportunity, or they're not currying favor like he's some monarch of old. You know, at least you can take that from it, right? All right. Ray needs to go. Well, you know, like again, maybe he doesn't know. Maybe it's somebody under him that's filtering this out. I'm really slow to cancel people right now because there's so much going on and so many people are getting canceled about stupid stuff. Let's figure out what actually happened. But in the meantime, we've got the emails, guys. So the emails are available. So it doesn't really matter at this point what the FBI does because they're not going to be able to do anything before an election. They're just not going to. The amount of investigatory work, if it hasn't already been going on for a year, you can't compress that into 14 days, 15 days. You just can't. And then even so, even if you could, how many people have already voted? They can't take their vote back. You can't change your vote. All right, come on now, After Schrockers. Let's help to get it to 100. We got close there for a minute. We were at 91, right? I said the Washington Post. Oh, golly. New York Post. Yeah, the Washington Post is not the fourth largest newspaper in the United States. Yeah, I've never bought Goya either, but I like their Facebook page, and I started to see all these fun things that they were doing, and I'm like, wow, they make Mexican food look really fun. But he lies and sure, Joe's a liar and a cheat, but he lies and cheats for truth and justice. That's a very DC look at the world right there. Like DC versus Marvel. That's a very DC look. That's a very Gotham City there. I'm not sure what to do with that one, John. All right. Wanted to let you know that Addie in the Lincoln shop is amazing. I called with secure updater issues. She figured out how to fix it. It took a while, but she cheerfully stuck with it. I don't live in Nebraska full time, but Schrock will always be my computer company. Thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate you letting me know that, and I'll let Addie know that too, because sometimes at the front desk, the front desk ends up being the messenger for everything. So you have people who either love the front desk or hate the front desk, and the people who hate the front desk are always vocal about it, and it's really disheartening sometimes for them. So to have a positive comment like that means the world to her. It's going to be amazing to share that with her later. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Shame people who do the right thing get slammed. And at least I'm going to take a positive from this. Like when I'm looking at the Google page for his business, there's still a 5-star review there. So if I click on it, the dude's got good reviews. I don't know if Hunter Biden reviewed him, but the dude's got good. Wouldn't that be hilarious? But that's probably why they locked it down. Let me see. Could I leave a review now if I wanted to? Nope, it does not appear so. So they must have it locked. No reviews. Yep. So they've got him locked down. I wonder what his Yelp looks like. Let's see, because they're the social justice warriors. So let's see what they look like. They have only 44 reviews, 3-star rating, which is pretty consistent for Yelp. I mean, people go to Yelp to complain. So I never get, when I see a 3-star review on Yelp, that usually translates to a 4 or a 5-star review on Google. All right, it says it's closed and unclaimed, but it's the same guy, John Paul. 44 reviews, rating details. Yep, here we go in 2020. In September of 2020, the Mac Shop had 100% 5-star reviews across the board. And in October of 2020, he has an average of 2-star reviews. So we know that he did not get anything less than a 5-star review before September. Since September, he has 23 1-star reviews and 1 4-star review. So not exactly a liberal thrashing, but, it is what it is, I guess. Can't really do anything about it. Let's see. Like Flynn, yep. Let's see. People keep addictions for life. Yeah, you do. You gotta be vigilant. The second you think that you're good to go back out and go have some fun, that's when you get in trouble. I used to say that I do things the Navy SEAL way, guys. I go hard or I go home. So if you do bad things and you go hard at them, that's not good. So you do good things. You try to do good things. You try to do good things and make a good difference for people in your life. Biden's son has a real problem. If a country like China were to get a hold of it. That's actually what was starting to come out yesterday in some of the alternate news sources that I was looking at, is that there actually is some underage girls shot video of Hunter Biden with girls that could be perceived to be underage. This is all alleged, guys. I have not seen this myself. I probably shouldn't even be. Anyway, the idea was that those people may have been provided by a foreign government. And they call it a honeypot, basically, where you get trapped, and then it's like, well, you better do what we say, or we're going to release this nasty thing about you. Well, maybe we just did in a weird roundabout way, Hunter Biden a favor. You know, maybe everybody did him a favor by talking about the emails. It's awful, but you know that maybe if somebody had a hold on him, they don't anymore. I don't know. Alrighty. That's why they have so much more than Biden and Hunter. Let's see. Oh, they had Wiener's laptop for years. You know, Ray didn't know. Yeah, so it looks bad, right, guys? It's like you want to have faith in the government. You want to have faith that the laws are applied equally, equal justice under law. That's what you want to believe. And then you see protests from people who are trashing things and burning things down, saying that the law is not being equally applied. And you're like, come on, you guys, you shouldn't be burning stuff down because the law is not being equally applied. Then you look at what's happening here, and you're like, my gosh, the law is so not being equally applied. And you're just like, it's not just this. It's all over the place. It's like, and it's not the people on the ground. That's the thing. It's not the cop with the riot shield standing in the line. It's not the FBI investigator a field agent going out into the field, doing an investigation and writing a report. It's the politicians that run these divisions and departments, and it's the higher-ups in the divisions of the departments. I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, at some point in my life, maybe I'll retire. And then what will I do? Maybe I'd run for office someday. Like when I had enough money that I didn't care, that I didn't need more money, that I was comfortable or happy where I'm at, and then maybe I could go do some. But then you start looking at there's just no way to keep your hands clean. If you play the game, there's no way to keep your hands clean. It's like, you know, going into a room full of mud, you're going to get some mud on you. And you can be, I genuinely believe that guys like Ben Sass, they mean well. They're doing it. Don Bacon, he means well. He's doing a good job. He's a good man. That doesn't mean that his opponent is a bad person or anything. It means I know him. I know he's a good man. You know, I don't know Ben Sass. I like his civic lessons. I said, you know, that's pretty cool. You know, half this battle is being known, and everyone, better or worse, knows their names, don't they? So, yeah, I don't know, guys. So I'm going to walk away from the politics now. I've done my thing. I've done what I came to do and explained how it's going to work through. So hopefully, if you have somebody in your friends or your family or somebody who doesn't understand what this is about, doesn't have the time to figure it out, wants it explained the same way I explained it to my son, who's 14. Here you go. You can share this video with him, and you have a tool in the toolbox now that you can share. Anyway, last call for questions, guys. Before I get out of here, I got to get going. So much going on politically this year. Bet we don't know who wins until December. You know, yeah, my wife said the other day, I just can't wait for this election to be over. Just be done. I'm so tired of it. And I think everyone will agree with that. Everybody's just tired of it at this point. And it's like 4 years ago, were we this tired of it? I think we were all like, you know, oh, Trump's going to get destroyed. Hillary Clinton's going to be president. It's a foregone conclusion. There's nothing to get anxious about, nothing to get excited about. It's just that's going to be how it is. And then it didn't happen. This time around, it's like nobody really knows what's going to happen. Some people are just like KJ said, that people may not have a result from the election until like months, right? Or weeks at least. Or the results of the voting could be so overwhelming, we might have Joe Biden could win the first night, right? If Joe Biden wins the in-person voting, the assumption is that most of the mail-in ballots are going to go Democrat, because people who are on the left are less likely to go out and vote in person because they're worried about COVID more than people on the right. For some reason, COVID's political. But then you start seeing weird things like the number of ballots coming in from registered Republicans is exceeding the number of ballots being mailed in by registered Democrats. And that's kind of scary. If I was in the Biden campaign, I'd be a little scared right now. That doesn't mean he can't pull it off. That doesn't mean he's not a talented politician. That doesn't mean that he wouldn't have been the first politician to survive a horrible scandal and come out on top. They call Bill Clinton the comeback kid for a reason. You know, it can be done. Now the question is there time? Is it real? Will enough people perceive it as real to make a difference in the vote, or is it the muddy room situation where anybody who gets involved with this just gets mud all over them, and then you just don't want to look at any of them anymore? I don't know. Alrighty, let's see here. I agree. Hear the same ads against conservatives, get tired of it. Yeah, the thing that ticks me off is I can't buy ads because they're all being bought by people who are buying political ads right now. It's like, okay, if you hear an ad for or against Trump or Biden, regardless of which side you're voting for right now, is that ad likely to change your mind? And see, I think it's like the advertising. In the past, it was the social media, right? So if you heard every ad on the radio was an ad against Trump, you might conclude that Trump is a really bad guy. Or if every ad on the radio is about how Biden is enriching himself personally through his office, you might start to believe that Biden's enriching himself personally, and that's not cool. Well, now with social media, I mean, literally, how many conservative messages do you see on social media? There are groups, actually, like support groups for conservatives on social media you can go to. Every day that goes by, I'm like, man, I need to open that Parler account. What am I doing here? What am I doing on Facebook? What am I doing on Twitter? What's the alternative? Where do I go to reach you guys? You guys aren't on Parler. Maybe you are, I don't know, but it limits my audience. Why would I go to a smaller distribution when I have a larger distribution unless I had to go there? And that's why a lot of people are on Parler. They've been kicked off the other things. But you see Laura Loomer, she's getting absolutely blacklisted by big tech. And literally, her platform she is running on is elect me so I can castrate them for what they've done to me. Like, literally. She's like, that's her campaign platform. I'm going to get them. And so, yeah, I mean, why? Nothing like giving them a good reason to open up. Like the other day, you guys gave me a hard time about telling you how to get around the Omaha World Herald's pay firewall. Like you're not going to win any Omaha awards anymore because you told that. That's true, but you're not going to get put back on social media, Laura, by telling them you're going to castrate them either. But it's one of those things where there's a difference between like what Parler does is they will limit speech that is directly threatening. So like if you say I'm going to kill you, if you say that again, they won't let you post that. But if you posted, like you remember back when Sarah Palin was a political person, and she posted an ad or a graphic, and it had different like Democrats in different districts that they were targeting, and it had a target on their heads, like we're targeting these people. She didn't mean with a rifle. She meant we're targeting them in the election, like we're targeting them with another candidate. These are seats that we believe we can flip. We can target those seats. And it was like, oh no, it's Twitter blocks it because it's violence and everything else. And I don't know. When did we become? Oh, there's so many things that the filter just caught. That I better just call it there. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you spending the time with us. Yep, paper in the mailbox goes to the shredder. Who is the Lori I'm talking about? Hold on a second. Who is Lori? Lori was posting up above here, I think. Sorry, sometimes I get the complete stream of comments. You guys might only get ones that Facebook wants you to see. Scrolling up here to see. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I didn't say anything about a Lori. I don't see anything from a Lori. All right, let's see. Depending on people's privacy settings, you may or may not see their comments. Oh, yeah. So, way to make it non-confrontational, lovely Kimberly. Doing what you do best. It's not that Facebook doesn't want you to see it. It just depends on their privacy settings. If your privacy settings are set to the highest, then people can't see it. All right. Dell is advertising financing. Is Schrock aligned? And why financing? With any financing? We've looked into financing before. The problem is, number one, nobody wants to do it. So Dell is internally financing you with their own Dell Financial Services division. So they're providing the credit to buy the computers, and they're doing the collections and everything else. For a while, we had a third-party agency that was offering financing to purchase things, but it was super restrictive. So you could use it for a computer, but you couldn't use it for software. So you'd have to buy the endpoint on your computer, but you couldn't buy, and the Windows operating system, you had to pay cash for those, but you could get the rest of the computer on credit. And so we're like, that's stupid. So we just did the whole computer on credit, and then one customer complained about something, and then they said, well, what's all this software? And we told them, oh, we're doing that because it's just too hard to split it up. And then they said, you can't do this anymore. We're like, whatever, fine. We didn't have that many people doing it anyway, but it's one of those things, guys, that we'd like to do, but internally it's a little difficult. We'd have to have a partner to help provide the financing for us, and because technology is so portable and can walk away so easily, not a lot of people are interested in doing it. All right, got to roll, guys. Have a great afternoon. and we'll talk to you next week. And thanks for joining us. Please remember to click like and share. Helps us spread the word about the program, not just the Aftershock, but the radio show as well. Appreciate you listening, and hope to see you in the service center soon. Have a great day.